you know. Just like somebody today on Facebook came and wanted to join the thing and has been reading the pointings here and things, and they're with a teacher, they said, that is, I guess not doing beneficial things. And I said one has to use discernment when it comes to a guru or a teacher. And if they're not doing things, they should be closer to Dharma. Their life should be dharmic. And if there are actions happening that need to be explained away, then they're not where they say they are. They have no point in being a teacher or a guru. And if you see that happening, leave, walk away, because you have to stand for truth. Not all who claim to be gurus are gurus or should be gurus. Maybe they've had some sort of an experience, and so they're able, or they're good at reading and speaking, whatever. But if the life isn't matching, if the life isn't dharmic, then walk away. You can't hold to adharma or untruth if you're walking a path of truth. And if you see that the teacher you're following, no matter how grand their words are sounding, if there's a disconnect in their life, then they're not speaking from the reality.
It's a tough one, having been in such a group for so long.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. And one wants to rationalize away these actions. One wants to rationalize away it, because it sounds so wonderful on the surface. But if there's a disconnect there, then they're not speaking from that absolute reality, because there is no way that life can go off into such a, disconnect of actions versus words. Actions speak louder than words, okay? The words may sound wonderful, but if the actions are not matching, use some discernment and get out of there, That's all. Use some discernment and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, one tricky part, the actions were to stay hidden.
Exactly. A lot of times the actions will remain hidden, but eventually what is darkness will come to light. You can't remain hidden forever. So look more deeply, and if you're seeing really that these actions are honestly taking place, this is not to say, no matter what the teacher is, they're going to have people that come that get pissed off at something and go make all manner of false allegations. Okay, that's another thing. You can't believe everything that some disgruntled, seeker that comes and goes, blows out, is going to say. Just as we've had that type of thing here, where they leave and they're making all manner of assertions which have nothing to do with anything. Like you're charging all this money and this and that. And people, if they would check into it, they would see that's not the case. You can't just go on blind assertions. But if you're there and you see something happening, or if there are, a number of people, and this is coming forward more and more and more again, then use some discernment. Okay, because the path is to truth. Okay, absolute ultimate truth. And if you think the absolute ultimate truth is going to result in actions that are less than honorable, think again. Then it's not the absolute unerring truth. Then they're, if they're proclaiming to be a Satguru, then they're deluded. They're not, they're still in some illusion. So no, the words and the actions have to match. Doesn't mean that it's going to be fluffy and wonderful. The actions may appear to be quite hard and harsh at the time to cut through drama, but there will be none of this abuse, physical abuse. There will not be any sexual abuse. There will not be any of that drama. Doesn't mean that some of the words may not cut to the bone, to, when it comes to getting one to see some clarity, or to shake it up, to, so you fall back in on yourself and question more deeply, So again, one has to use some sort of, some discernment and wisdom. Yes, a student comes in humility. That's absolutely the case. That should be there, because they have nothing to challenge a teacher with. They're there to get clarification. They're there to learn. They're there to, be moved forward. But this doesn't mean that discernment goes out the window. If you absolutely 100%, if you see a teacher and they've got actions that are needing to be explained away and explained away and explained away, well, they're higher, therefore it doesn't matter what their actions are. That is such bullshit. I'm going to call it like it is. It's bullshit. That's absolutely no. Absolutely no. So if you're in that type of a scenario, leave. Leave. Stand for truth. When you find that it's untruth and adharma, that the teacher is engaging in adharma against the dharmic principles, against dharma, then leave. That's simple. That's simple. Don't stay and dance around it and justify and, because it sounds good on the surface. And, well, I've gotten something from it, therefore it must be valid.
Many I'm sure find it difficult. They are in confusion and they're flip-flopping, column A, column B.
Yeah, yeah.
These benefits are here, but
yeah, but I'm out for myself and I'm getting something from it. Therefore, I don't want to, look at this. I want to be in denial of it, and I'll compartmentalize it. Turn your sound down. You got it all the way up again.
Okay, there we go.
You can't have the sound all the way up. It feeds back.
Yeah, it's great. I got it like halfway.
Okay. That's fine. So anyway, that's, that's where that's at. Teachers have got to walk the talk. If they're not walking the talk, then they're not teachers. You lead by example. What the heck kind of example is that? Words are not the example. Okay? Anybody can say anything. That's why the saying, actions speak louder than words. Okay, let's look at this. That's true. What are the actions?
Yeah, I was referring when staying hidden, like in my old path.
Right.
Well, nobody knew what his actions were. He appeared a few hours here and there, occasionally, and that's it. But nobody really knew what was going on anyway. It's all hidden.
Yeah. Well, part of it's hidden, but then again, when you look at things as the teacher speaking with clarity, in simplicity, straightforwardly.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Can't hide everything.
No. And when it's just circular talk, which a lot of these do, a lot of circular talk, people think it's so deep I can't understand it. No, it's not. It's just circular, unending talk that makes no sense. Yeah, they may have a few things that sound good, but when you come to saying, well, a whole river's got to be changed in order for a country to have the correct Vashtu, what a bunch of nonsense. Let's get some clarity here. You know, when you see, I mean, things like this being said, you know, get a clue, you know, wake up, wake up. When you see people buying, you know, in $1 million you could be pronounced a king, let's get a clue. If you think for $1 million you can buy realization, think again. You can't buy it. You can't buy it. It can't be guaranteed for any. There is no guarantee on it. All a guru can do is give the best they can give, and the guru is catalyst for the journey. But you have to make the journey, and it's through consciousness. You know, that's all. That's all. So, yeah, a lot of stuff for people to look at, you know.
It is tough. The confusions.
Well, there's a lot of confusion out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of misbegotten notions that sound good on the surface when it comes to spiritual communities and stuff. You know.
All these big guys, every one of them, Sri and the Oneness, TM, all those big guys, they look so grand that's where the confusion comes in. The Sadak is looking and say, oh my God, wow.
Well, they see big organizations and they see things, you know, people are playing with it, you know, and it sounds good on the surface because it's going to be pleasant to ego. If it's pleasant to ego and all sounds wonderful, then they get a clue. It's establishing ego. It's not cutting through ego. And of course, ego wants to play. It wants to play its spirituality. You know, this is a bigger game, and it's more grand, and it's more fun. And I can convince myself I'm holy, and I'm doing this and that for humanity, and it's a bigger ego. One's constructing a larger ego. Okay? I'm dancing and singing, and, you know, I'm doing all these things, and it feels good, you know. And it's another form of escapism. It can be another, you know, form of escapism. Just like the drug of oneness in the end, but that bubble has to burst. You know, vast difference between oneness and when it bursts into that zero point, you know. Big difference. Big difference. Not to say there's not bliss in when that bubble bursts, but it's not that intoxicating and that, you know, like a drug state of that drama, you know, that all deconstructs into this peace that passes understanding rather than this bouncing around bliss mode of, you know, unreality and, you know, that drama. Yeah, and that's a really tough one. Like I said, that's the toughest one to break through because you think you're there, 100% you think you're there, and you would fight to the death and what you think you know, and all this stuff is just spouted out, and it sounds good to those that are really in suffering, you know, but you know, to those that are in that state of oneness, all that can be said is there's further to go. Really further to go. Between night and day. It's really between night and day, between what is full realization and versus that state of oneness, that drunken state of oneness.
The drunken state of oneness.
Really, it's like a drug state. It really is like a drug state. All is love and all is bliss. It's all heart. It's all, you know, it really is like a drunken state of oneness. I'm going to call it what it is. You know, it's very attractive.
What's that word? For some reason, where the opposites exist at the same time. I just
Paradox?
Paradox, yeah. It's a paradox. On one hand, it's some kind of evolved state. On the other hand, someone could be really so far off.
Well, like I said, and then in that state, all you see is God. Everything is God. It's all one. It's all, don't you see that? Don't you understand? It's all just one, and it doesn't matter what it's showing on the surface because it's all just one, and it's perfect, perfect as it is. Yeah, I see it. I know what that is. I've been there, okay? It's been, I also know what's beyond that. There is something vastly different beyond that. One is on the pinnacle of that mountain of oneness and thinks that's it. It's not it. Okay, it's a wonderful state to be at, but you got to come out of living in those states, It's another state of mind. One has to go beyond the mind. Let go of those states. So, yeah, I understand one quite perfectly. Thank you very much for trying to instruct me in it. I've been at the pinnacle of that mountain, and that's not it. That one can be subdivided, and the absolute cannot be subdivided. It's beyond one. It's the zero. Okay, so, but I'm not going to get into that too much because, it can't be understood by mind and intellect, and it's something that one has to, deconstruct into. And all of the stuff grandness that one has in that oneness has to implode. That's it. That's all. Would one go back to that high and drama of oneness? Absolutely not. Not for all the money in China. I don't care. Not for anything. One wouldn't go back into that, into that drunken state of,
bliss.
Yeah, a bliss, it's intoxicating, granted. Sounds good. Everybody's going to be, oh, you're so wonderful because all you talk about is love and oneness and beauty, and it's all beautiful. But it's not helping suffering humanity in the least. There's a disconnect in that.
That was TM's goal, 24 hours bliss.
Yeah, I'm sure, because it sells. For ego, it sells. What ego doesn't want to be in this drunken bliss state? Where where one can claim all is perfection and it's all beauty and it's all love. That's what ego wants. Ego looks without for that. Okay? That's the highest state of ego, is to have that. The first projection is love, and all of that goes with it. But there's something beyond that. Something really beyond that. Quite frankly. My dear, say right to you, my dear. Yeah, that's what's so hard to get people. They think that you're in duality because you can speak to duality. And that it's such a high thing to say it's all just one. Don't you know it's just one? Well, yeah, I know what's there. I know ultimately that all is one. And I know that the talk of one is another illusion. Because they're seeing the one as the subdivided, and everything's got its own essence and its own beauty, and it all comes together to make this one whole, and it's all God, and it's all, yeah, I understand it perfectly. You're talking to the choir. You're preaching to the choir, but, the problem is, there's something beyond that. That's the reality of it. There's something beyond that. Okay. So those that are preaching one are not going to want to hear this. They're not going to be happy with what's being said here, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to, I have to, you have to speak the truth of it. Otherwise, it's another occlusion. And why to occlude anything? You want to see humanity go forward into that full liberation. Yeah. That's all. The liberation of not needing to be liberated. Again, another paradox, but yeah. But as long as mind is in play, as long as there is this internal dialogue, as long as all of that stuff is going, it's not over. It's not over. At most, it's oneness and this, like I said, that very intoxicating state of seeing God everywhere that one looks. But it's, again, another external projection of God. God and, really, God through all these subdivided elements. Okay. Something beyond that. Something beyond that. One's at the outer level of it. One still has to go into the heart of it. It's not still not the heart of it yet. One's on the outer edge of it. It's like being in the temple and going towards the inner sanctum, and you're at the doorway of the inner sanctum, but you haven't stepped fully in. Yeah. So that's it. It's like the lingam and yoni. They're at the edge of the yoni. They haven't stepped inside the lingam yet. They don't know what's the difference to that 0 point versus the one spinning one. They're in the revelation still, in the revolving universe of many, and seeing oneness of it and the one of it, underneath it, but they haven't stepped into that absolute, where it dismantles all the rest of it. Yeah. And one's not going to lose anything by going beyond that drunken bliss state of oneness. Nothing is lost in that, except for the illusion and occluding mind of it, of this drama. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So be willing to go beyond the play of God to God directly. Without all these attributes of, drama. Then come talk to me about it being one. There'll be no talk about it at that point. Then all one does is enters the laughter, because it's like, it's like the grand joke is revealed. That's all. Your face is like,
See what this does to be on the other end listening to it.
Little transmission, huh? Yeah. No, a transmission happens. It takes place. Don't ask me how. I don't know. It just simply does.
Yep.
Don't ask as to the workings of the universe. No clue. It's a great mystery and always remains so. So it's fine.
Sums it up.
Just enjoy it for what it is. That's all. That's all.
Can't add another word.
So namaste, and thank you for this opportunity of this satsang.